Okay, we have Scott Beck from Sun Life here in Cornwall. He's also a real good buddy of mine, a kinsman buddy, so I thought I'd phone him up with all the volatility that is going on in the global markets from China, a lot of people are calling it the meltdown, what is happening in Greece, how it's affecting us, the election is on, and everyone is so confused, but most of all, they're worried about their investments. So Scott, I know you've been doing this for 25 years, and this is your opinion. Can you tell us in a nutshell what's going on here?
This is the same corrections that we have every 5 years. I've been doing this for half my life, and we never learn. We get scared, then the stock market starts to go back up, and then we get greedy, and the stock market keeps going up, and then we get unbelievably greedy, and the stock market crashes down back to what I call my reality check. And it's a negative check. We're saying, look, you had it good for so long. You got to draw it back a little bit. And this happens again. But the media, no, not you guys, of course, but we'll call it the media on TV sometimes down in the States, hype it up to the nth degree as if this has never happened before. And pretty well every 5 years this happens.
Now you're kind of clarifying us on this. So what's happening in China? Did they just explode and then implode? I mean, explode in the way of growing so much that they couldn't handle it. What's happening in Greece?
Well, as you said, this is just my opinion. What's happened in China is you've had incredible growth as you drew in the rural people into the cities. So they've had to build buildings as they drew in all the people that used to work on farms, come into the city to work in the industrial world. And when you have growth like that, you have to supply iron, ore, concrete. I mean, you're building buildings faster than unbelievable. They're building schools in 3 weeks. I mean, hospitals in 3 months are being built. I mean, it's an incredible amount of build that's going along as they're drawing in millions of people from outside communities into it. At a certain point in time, you've built too much. You can't keep it up. You can't just keep doing that. You're not even selling enough to cover the cost of the build-up. And what you have here is a country that's not 100% capitalist, which means it's not 100%, shall we say, transparent. And this leads to sometimes abuse being done within. And I think they got caught on some of the abuse. Numbers were not exactly what they were, and they were just deployed as being, a little bit off. And as a result of that, your confidence in the economy goes down.
How does that relate to us? Because China's a different economy, a separate economy from us totally.
They are, but we're so closely linked. We sell so much wood and ore, and a lot of our natural resources goes to China to supply and fuel that incredible powerhouse. If that powerhouse slows down, well, then we have this excess supply. You're seeing that in the oil markets, in fact. You have just too much oil now between the use of more energy-efficient products out there, as well as the fracking resources in the United States, which all of a sudden have given them an incredible amount of oil that they didn't have before, and then the lack of need of oil for other places where we normally sell oil. Doesn't need it anymore. We have an abundance of it.
Yeah, I noticed gas today was 99.3, and I think the barrel is under $40 now.
It is under $40. So what you're seeing right now, in my opinion, once again, in my opinion, is the gas companies, oil-producing companies are also gas-producing companies, have lost some of their revenue sources in the sense of selling crude oil. So they have to make sure they don't lose all the revenue sources selling gasoline. So gasoline prices aren't going to plummet down to 38 cents a liter because the gas companies still need that revenue. So that's the other source of it. And so you'll see a reduction, definitely, of gas prices, but you won't see it drop down to 30 cents a liter anytime soon because they still need to do theirs, and the government still has their huge share of taxes per liter.
What is the advantages? I know the dollar is quite low. What is the advantages for Canadians?
Well, the advantage for Canadians when the dollar is low compared to our major trader, United States, is that the United States can buy our products at fairly cheap. So as an exporter, which is a lot of our natural resources, we're getting great deals. People are buying our stuff. If you manufacture in Canada, you can sell it down in the States very, very cheap. That's fantastic for manufacturing jobs in Canada. The big problem is, though, Canadians can't go down to the States. I'm calling you right now from Florida. At 38 cents on the dollar, I mean, $1.38 Canadian to buy $1 American, I'm not buying a lot down here. I already bought this vacation before the dollar plummeted. Thank you very much, but I'm very happy about that. But while I'm down here, I'm not buying a lot because I'm looking at the price differences, and it says, now America's not going to have me buying a lot from there. Travel nationally, not internationally.
A boom listener, for instance, they have stocks. And I know that's what you deal with, mutual funds and stocks and that. You help people. What's your advice to people who are seeing their stocks just going down?
Well, there's two different advices. One, sit down with whoever sold you the stocks and figure out what's going on. And if you can't find that person who sold you the mutual fund or your investment, find somebody, because you need an informed decision to temper your emotional reaction. Your emotional reaction is to bail out, but you'll never return the money back going into a term deposit at 1.5%. The interest rates are phenomenally low. Be patient. This is another blip. In 2008, we had a huge stock market correction where we lost 40% of the stock market. But in 2009, that 12 months from after the stock market correction was one of the best 12 months in the history of the stock market. And most people weren't playing because they all bailed out. So you have to understand, there is good news. There is always a bounce back. You just have to be patiently waiting for it and understand that. And if you're not sure where you're invested, get some advice, because you can't do it yourself. It's a different product. It's not something you can read on. There's tons of information online. There's very little wisdom.
Yeah.
And that's where